Captain Dae-hyun stared at the massive ship on his screen. It was 3 times bigger than his research vessel, the New Horizon. The alien ship looked like a giant metal beast with sharp edges and glowing red lights. It had been following them for 2 hours now. "Captain," said Ji-won from her communication station. "They're trying to talk to us again, same signal pattern as before." Dae-hyun rubbed his tired eyes. His crew had been exploring this part of space for 6 months. They were looking for new planets and maybe new friends among the stars. They never expected to find something like this. "Any luck understanding what they want?" he asked. "Not yet, sir, but the signals are getting stronger. I think they're getting closer." Minji, the ship's scientist who studied alien life, looked up from her computer. "Captain, I've been reading about this area of space. The old maps call it the hunting grounds. Maybe we're not supposed to be here." Before Dae-hyun could answer, the lights on his ship went dark for a moment. When they came back on, something had changed. The alien ship was now right next to them, so close they could see details on its hull. "How did they move so fast?" whispered Seokmin, the ship's engineer. Suddenly, a deep voice filled the bridge. It spoke in a language none of them understood, but the tone was clear. It sounded angry. "Ji-won, can you respond?" Dae-hyun asked. "I'm trying basic math signals," she said, her fingers dancing over her controls. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 + 2 = 4. The alien voice stopped. There was silence for a long moment. Then came a different sound, like metal being cut open. "Captain!" shouted Minho from his computer station. "Something just attached to our ship. They're cutting through the hull." Dr. Hyuna, the ship's doctor, grabbed her medical bag. "Should I prepare for wounded?" "Everyone stay calm," Dae-hyun said, but his heart was beating fast. "Minji, what do we know about first contact rules?" "Be peaceful. Show we're not dangerous. Offer gifts if possible," she said quickly. The cutting sounds got louder, then they stopped. Heavy footsteps echoed through the ship's hallways, getting closer to the bridge. "They're inside," Minho said quietly. The bridge door opened with a loud crash. What walked through was not what any human had ever seen before. The creature stood 8 feet tall on 6 powerful legs. Its body was covered in dark fur with silver markings. Sharp claws clicked on the metal floor. Its head looked like a giant wolf, but with 4 eyes that glowed like blue fire. Crystal spikes ran down its back, glowing softly. Behind this creature came 3 others, all carrying weapons that hummed with energy. The largest creature spoke in the same deep voice they had heard before. Its 4 eyes looked at each human one by one. "It's trying to communicate," Ji-won whispered. "The tone is different now, less angry." Captain Dae-hyun stood up slowly, keeping his hands where the creature could see them. "I am Captain Dae-hyun of the human ship New Horizon. We come in peace." The creature tilted its massive head. One of its companions made a growling sound and pointed its weapon at Seokmin. Minji noticed something. "Captain, look at the smaller one behind them. It's hurt." She was right. The 4th creature was limping. Dark blood dripped from a wound on its leg onto the floor. Without thinking, Dr. Hyona stepped forward. The lead creature's eyes fixed on her, and it made a warning sound deep in its throat. "It's injured," she said softly, pointing at the wounded one. "I can help." She slowly reached into her medical bag and pulled out a bandage. The lead creature watched every move she made. Dr. Hyona knelt down and held out the bandage toward the wounded creature. "For the hurt," she said simply. The wounded creature looked at its leader, who made a series of clicking sounds. After a moment, the wounded one stepped forward carefully. Dr. Hyona worked quickly but gently. She cleaned the wound and wrapped it with the bandage. The creature stood very still, watching her with its glowing eyes. "There," she said when she finished. "Better now." The lead creature stared at Dr. Hyona for a long time. Then it made a sound that might have been surprise. It spoke to its companions in their own language. The weapons were lowered. Captain Dae-hyun saw his chance. "Dong-woo," he called to his cook, "bring some food and water." "Sir?" Dong-woo looked confused. Trust me. Bring enough for our guests. When Dongwu returned with trays of food and water bottles, the alien creatures looked even more confused. The lead creature sniffed the air. Its nose twitched. Food, Daehyun said, setting the trays on the floor between them. For friends. The wounded creature made a soft sound and looked at its leader. The leader's 4 eyes moved from the food to the humans and back to the food. Slowly, the lead creature reached down and picked up a piece of bread. It sniffed it carefully, then took a small bite. Its eyes widened slightly. I think it likes it, Minji whispered. The creature spoke to its companions. They all gathered around the food, eating carefully but hungrily. Jiwon worked at her station, trying to understand their language. Captain, I'm picking up patterns in their speech. I think the big one might be their leader. The others keep looking to it for permission. After the creatures finished eating, the leader stood and walked to Captain Daehyun. It was so tall that Daehyun had to look up to see its face. The creature placed one large hand on its chest and spoke a single word. Kethnari. Daehyun understood. Captain Daehyun, he said, pointing to himself. Kethnari nodded once. Then it pointed to Dr. Hyona and made a sound that seemed almost gentle. I think it's thanking her, Minji said. Kethnari walked to each human crew member, studying them. When it reached Yoonji, the ship's counselor, it stopped. Yoonji had been quiet during the whole encounter, but now she smiled softly at the alien. Leader. Hello, she said simply. Kethnari made a sound like a purr. They're not what I expected, Dongwu said quietly. They look scary, but they seem nice. Kethnari's ears moved at the sound. It looked around the bridge, taking in all the equipment and displays. Then it spoke in its own language to its companions. Jiwon, are you getting any of this? Daehyun asked. Some words are repeating. I think they're discussing us. The tone is curious, not hostile. One of the other creatures brought out a device and showed it to Kethnari. Pictures appeared in the, air above the device, images of their ship, their weapons, and their world. They're showing us who they are, Minji realized. Kethnari operated the device and new images appeared. They saw a world of dark forests and silver cities. Creatures like Kethnari hunted together in groups. Cubs played under purple skies. They're sharing their home with us, Captain Daehyun said with wonder. The images changed to show other alien species, some running away from the Kethnari, others shooting weapons at them. Other races fear them, Dr. Hyona said sadly. Kethnari looked at the humans and made a questioning sound. Captain Daehyun understood. We're not afraid, he said. You helped us understand. We help you understand. For the first time, Kethnari's expression changed. The fierce look in its eyes softened. It made a sound that was almost like laughter. The wounded creature limped over to Dr. Hyona and gently touched her shoulder with one clawed hand. It spoke a few words in its language. I think it's saying thank you, Jiwon said. As the hours passed, the two groups began to learn from each other. Jiwon made progress with their language. Minji shared pictures of Earth and humans. Dongwu brought more food, and the aliens seemed to enjoy trying new things. But Captain Daehyun noticed something in Kethnari's eyes. Despite the friendship growing between them, the alien leader looked worried about something. Something important was bothering it. Kethnari, Daehyun said. Problem? The alien leader's ears dropped slightly. It spoke a few words, and one of them sounded urgent. Captain, Jiwon said, checking her translation work. I think it said something about young one and hurt. Kethnari's 4 eyes focused on Dr. Hyona. It pointed to her, then to the bandage on its companion's leg, then to its communication device. I think, Dr. Hyona said slowly, it wants me to help someone else, someone young. Kethnari nodded quickly and made urgent sounds. Captain Daehyun looked at his crew. They had started this day as explorers. Now they might become something else entirely, helpers to creatures the galaxy feared. What do you need? He asked Kethnari. The alien leader's expression filled with hope and desperation. Whatever was happening, it was about to change everything for both their species. Kethnari rushed to its communication device. The machine made beeping sounds as messages came through. The alien leader's 4 eyes grew wider with each beep. Its claws clicked nervously on the metal floor. "Something's very wrong," Dr. Hyona said, watching Kethnari's body language. Jiwon worked fast at her station, trying to understand the alien messages. "Captain, I'm picking up emotion words. Fear, hurt, young." Kethnari suddenly made a loud, painful sound, like a howl mixed with a cry. The other alien creatures gathered around their leader, making soft, comforting noises. Captain Daehyun stepped forward. "Kethnari, what happened?" The alien leader looked at the captain with desperate eyes. It pointed to the communication device, then to Dr. Hyona, then made a gesture toward its own chest. "Family," Minji said quietly. "It's about family." Kethnari nodded quickly. It operated the device, and new pictures appeared in the air. The images showed a smaller version of Kethnari, clearly a young one. The cub had the same silver markings but was only about the size of a large dog. In the pictures, the cub was playing and running with other young aliens. Then the images changed. The cub was lying still on what looked like a medical table. Dark blood covered its small body. Several adult aliens stood around it looking worried. "Oh no," Dr. Yona whispered. "The little one is badly hurt." Kethnari made urgent sounds and pointed again at Dr. Hyona. Then it touched the bandage on its companion's leg. "It wants me to help," she realized. "But how? Where is the cub?" Jiwon's translation device beeped. "Captain, I think I understand some of this. The cub's name might be Veltar, and there was an accident during something called First Hunt." Kethnari operated its device again. New images showed the cub falling from a high cliff while chasing a flying creature. Rocks had fallen on top of the small alien. "Hunting accident," Sokman said sadly. "Poor little thing." The images continued. They showed a large building that looked damaged. Broken machines and fallen walls filled the rooms. "Their medical center," Dr. Hyona understood. "It's been destroyed." Kethnari made desperate sounds and gestured toward the human ship. "It wants to bring the cub here," Captain Daehyun realized. "It wants our help." Dr. Hyona looked around the small medical room on their ship. "Captain, I've never treated an alien before. I don't know their biology. What if I make things worse? But if we don't try, the cub might die," Minji said. "And look at Kethnari. This is its child." Kethnari seemed to understand they were discussing the situation. It came close to Dr. Hyona and gently placed one large hand near her shoulder, not touching, but close enough to show trust. "It believes in you," Yunji said softly. "Even though we're strangers." Captain Daehyun made his decision. "Dr. Hyona, we'll help however we can. What do you need?" "I need to know about their biology, how their bodies work, what medicines are safe for them." She looked at Minji. "Can you help me learn?" "I'll do my best," Minji said. "Kethnari, can you show us more about your people?" The alien leader understood. It worked with its device, showing detailed images of alien anatomy. The humans watched carefully as pictures explained how the aliens' hearts worked, how they breathed, how their blood moved through their bodies. "Their hearts are in a different place," Dr. Hyona noted. "And they have 2 of them. Look at their bone structure," Minji pointed out. "Much stronger than ours, but the joints are similar." Sokman studied the medical equipment in the images. "Captain, we'll need to change our medical room. These aliens are much bigger than humans." "How long do we have?" Captain Daehyun asked. Kethnari operated its communication device and spoke with someone on its home world. The conversation sounded urgent and sad. "Not long," Jiwon said, reading the emotion in the alien voices. "Maybe hours." "Then we work fast," the captain decided. "Sokman, Minho, prepare the medical room. Make it bigger and stronger. Dongwoo, prepare special food for a sick cub. Jiwon, keep learning their language. Minji, keep studying their biology." Everyone moved quickly. Seokman and Minho began taking apart walls to make the medical room larger. They reinforced the bed to hold something much heavier than a human. Dr. Hyuna studied every detail of alien biology she could learn. Their blood is blue, not red, she told herself. Their temperature is higher than ours. They heal faster but need different medicines. Kethnari watched the humans work with growing amazement. It spoke to its companions in their own language. What are they saying? Captain Daehyun asked Ji-won. I think Kethanari is telling them that humans are different from other species. Most aliens either run away or attack, but we're helping. Hours passed quickly. The medical room was ready. Dr. Hyuna had prepared medicines that should be safe for alien biology. Dongwoo had made soft foods that wouldn't upset an alien stomach. Then Kethanari's communication device made urgent sounds. The alien leader listened and let out another painful howl. The cub is getting worse, Ji-won translated. Kethanari turned to Captain Daehyun and made a series of sounds while pointing at the human ship. It's asking permission to bring the cub aboard, Ji-won said. Right now. Yes, Captain Daehyun said immediately. Bring Veltar here. Kethanari's eyes filled with something that looked like tears. It spoke quickly into its communication device. Within an hour, another alien ship arrived. This one was smaller but moved very fast. It docked with the human ship, and several aliens came aboard carrying a small, still form wrapped in silver cloth. Dr. Hyona's heart broke when she saw little Veltar. The cub was so small and hurt. Its fur was matted with blue blood, and it breathed in short, painful gasps. Bring it to the medical room, she said gently. The aliens carefully placed Veltar on the prepared bed. Kethnari stood beside its cub, making soft, worried sounds. Dr. Hyuna examined the small patient. Broken ribs, internal bleeding, damage to the spine. She looked up at the worried faces around her, both human and alien. It's very serious, but I think I can help. She began working immediately. Minji helped by monitoring the cub's vital signs on equipment they had modified for alien biology. Minho assisted by adjusting the lighting and temperature for alien comfort. Kethnari, Dr. Hyuna said as she worked, this will take time. Hours, maybe longer. The alien leader nodded and settled down beside the medical bed. It was clear that it would not leave its cub's side. As Dr. Hyuna worked, something beautiful happened. The other aliens began making soft, rhythmic sounds, like singing, but deeper. Kethnari joined in. They're singing to the cub, Yoonji realized. It's like a lullaby. Captain Daehyun found himself humming along, even though he didn't know the tune. Soon other humans joined in, the medical room filled with the sound of two species singing together for one small life. Hours passed. Dr. Hyuna worked carefully, fixing broken bones and stopping internal bleeding. Minji monitored every heartbeat and breath. The alien singing continued, sometimes soft, sometimes stronger, but never stopping. Finally, as the ship's artificial morning began, Dr. Hyuna stepped back from the medical bed. Done, she said tiredly. Veltar will live. Kethnari looked at the doctor with all four eyes shining. The alien leader made a sound that was pure joy and relief. It gently touched its cub, who was now breathing easily and sleeping peacefully. The cub will need weeks to heal completely, Dr. Hyuna explained. It should stay here where I can watch it. Kethnari nodded and spoke to its companions. They had a quick discussion in their own language. What are they deciding? Captain Daehyun asked. Ji-won listened carefully. I think Kethnari wants to stay too, to be with the cub while it heals. Of course, the captain said immediately. Veltar and Kethanari can both stay as long as needed. The alien leader looked at Captain Daehyun with an expression that was clearly gratitude. It spoke a few words. That sounded formal and important. I think, Ji-won said slowly. It just said something like life debt. We saved its cub, so now it owes us something very important. But Captain Daehyun shook his head. No debt. We helped because it was right. Because Veltar needed help. Kethanari stared at the captain for a long moment. Then it made a sound that was definitely surprise. As the day continued, something unexpected began to happen. Little Veltar started to wake up. The cub was weak but alert. Its big eyes looked around the medical room with curiosity instead of fear. When Veltar saw Dr. Yona, the cub made a small, happy sound. When the doctor came close, Veltar tried to touch her hand with one tiny paw. "I think," Dr. Hyona said with tears in her eyes, "it knows I helped." Kethnari watched this interaction with growing amazement. Its cub, a natural predator that should fear other species, was trying to make friends with a human. Something was changing. Something that would affect both species forever. The aliens had found something they never expected to find in the galaxy. People who cared about their young as much as they did. And in that small medical room, as a human doctor checked on an alien cub while its parent watched gratefully, a new kind of friendship was being born. 2 weeks had passed since Veltar's surgery. The small cub was getting stronger every day. Dr. Hyona checked on the young alien every morning and evening, and each time, Veltar seemed happier to see her. "Look at this," Dr. Hyona said to Captain Daehyun one morning. "Watch what happens when I come into the room." As soon as Veltar saw the doctor, the cub made excited chirping sounds and tried to stand up. Its tail wagged like a happy dog's tail. "It thinks you're part of its family now," Minji observed. "In animal behavior, this is called imprinting." Kithanari watched from the corner of the medical room. The large alien had barely left its cub's side since the surgery, but now it seemed curious about something else: how much the humans cared about Veltar. "Kethnari," Captain Daehyun said, "your cub is very special. We all love Veltar." The alien leader tilted its head. Through Jiwon's translation work, it had learned to understand some human words. It spoke slowly in its own language. It says, "Love is strange word," Jiwon translated. "I think it's asking what love means." Yunji, the ship's counselor, sat down near Kethnari. "Love means caring about someone even when it's hard. It means wanting them to be happy and safe." Kethnari made a thoughtful sound. It looked at its cub, then at the humans. Over the next few days, Veltar became more active. The cub started following Dr. Hyona around the ship. Wherever she went, the small alien was right behind her, like a loyal pet. "This is unusual," Minji said, watching Veltar trail after the doctor. "Veltar should be afraid of us. We're not the same species." But Veltar showed no fear. When Dongwu brought food, the cub got excited. When Sokman worked on machines, Veltar watched with curious eyes. When Jiwon spoke in the alien language, Veltar chirped back happily. "It's like having a puppy," Minho said, laughing as Veltar tried to play with a tool that had fallen on the floor. Kethanari watched all of this with growing wonder. One evening, it asked to speak with Captain Daehyun privately. "What can I do for you?" the captain asked. Kethanari spoke slowly, using the human words it had learned mixed with its own language. Jiwon helped translate. "It says its people have a problem," Jiwon explained. "A big problem with their young ones." "What kind of problem?" Captain Daehyun asked. Kethnari activated its communication device. Pictures appeared showing the alien homeworld. The captain saw cities built into mountains and forests filled with dangerous creatures. "Beautiful world," he said, "but looks dangerous." Kethnari nodded sadly. More pictures showed young aliens, cubs like Veltar, but many looked sick or injured. "It says 6 out of 10 cubs die before they become adults," Jiwon translated. "The world is too dangerous for the young ones." Captain Daehyun felt his heart sink. "That's terrible. Why don't you move to a safer planet?" Kethanari showed more pictures. These showed other alien species, some running away when they saw the aliens, others shooting weapons at them. "Other species fear us," Jiwon translated. "They think we want to hurt them. No one helps us, no one wants us near their worlds." "But you're not evil," Captain Daehyun said. "You're just trying to protect your families." Kethnari's 4 eyes focused on the captain. It spoke a long sentence in its language. "It says humans are the first species that didn't run away or attack," Ji-won translated. The first ones to help a sick cub. The first ones to show kindness. The alien leader looked toward the medical room where Veltar was sleeping peacefully. My cub is safe here, Kethnari said in broken human words. Safer than home. Why? Captain Daehyun thought about this. Because we care about children. All children. Human children, alien children. It doesn't matter. Young ones need protection. Kethnari made a sound that was almost like crying. Most of Galaxy thinks we are monsters, but you see us as people with families. That's exactly what you are, the captain said firmly. The next day, something unexpected happened. Veltar, who had been getting stronger, suddenly got very sick again. The cub couldn't eat and had a high fever. Dr. Hyuna was worried. I don't understand. The surgery was successful. Veltar was healing well. Kethnari seemed to understand what was wrong. It spoke urgently to Ji-won. It says Veltar is lonely. Ji-won translated. The cub needs to be with other young ones. It's something called pack sickness. Pack sickness? Dr. Hyuna asked. Minji nodded. Some species need social contact to stay healthy. Veltar might be getting sick because it's the only young one here. Kethnari spoke again, looking sad and worried. It says it should take Veltar home, Ji-won translated. But it's afraid the cub will die there. Captain Daehyun had an idea. What if Veltar wasn't the only young one here? Everyone looked at him curiously. What if other alien cubs came to stay with us too? Then Veltar wouldn't be alone. Kethnari stared at the captain with all four eyes. You would do this? Take more cubs? Even though we are dangerous? You're not dangerous to us, Captain Daehyun said. And your cubs need help. We can provide that help. The alien leader was quiet for a long moment. Then it spoke in its own language, and the words sounded formal and important. It's making some kind of official statement, Ji-won said. I think it's offering an alliance. Kethnari nodded and spoke again in human words. Humans help our cubs. We help humans. Pack bond, Captain Daehyun repeated. I like that. Dr. Hyuna had another idea. What if we created a special place? A safe world where alien cubs could grow up healthy and strong. Kethnari's eyes grew wide. Safe world? For cubs? Yes, Minji said excitedly. A place with good food, clean water, and no dangerous predators, where cubs could play and learn without fear. And humans would protect them? Kethnari asked. We would protect them like our own children, Captain Daehyun promised. Kethnari stood up and walked to the captain. The large alien placed one hand on its chest and spoke a single word in its language. What does that mean? The captain asked. It means family, Ji-won translated with tears in her eyes. It's calling us family. That night, Kethnari sent messages to its homeworld. It told the other aliens about the humans, about the surgery that saved Veltar, about the kindness shown. To strangers, about the offer to help more cubs. The response came quickly. The aliens were suspicious at first. No species had ever offered to help them before. But Kethnari sent pictures and videos. Other aliens saw Veltar playing happily with humans. They saw Dr. Hyuna gently checking the cub's health. They saw Dongwoo making special food for alien tastes. They saw humans singing lullabies to help a frightened cub sleep. They want to meet you, Ji-won translated as messages came in. The leaders of their people want to see these humans who help alien cubs. They're welcome here, Captain Daehyun said. All of them. 3 days later, a large alien ship arrived, but this time it came peacefully. Kethnari met the other aliens at the docking bay and spoke with them for hours. When they came to the bridge, Captain Daehyun saw 5 adult aliens and 3 cubs. The cubs stayed close to their parents, but their eyes were curious, not afraid. Leader of this group was an alien called Morketh. It was even larger than Kethnari, with scars that showed it had survived many battles. You are the humans who help cubs? Morketh asked in careful human words. We are, Captain Daehyun said. Welcome to our ship. Morketh looked around the bridge, then at the human crew. Show us the sick cub that you healed. They went to the medical room, where Veltar was playing with a toy that Minho had made. When the cub saw the other aliens, it made happy sounds and ran to them. But then something surprising happened. Veltar ran back to Dr. Hyona and stood beside her, looking up at the adult aliens as if showing them who had helped. Veltar is showing us its pack, Morketh said with amazement. The cub thinks humans are part of its family. Dr. Hyona knelt down and gently petted Veltar. The cub made contented sounds and leaned against her. This is not possible, one of the other aliens said. Cubs do not bond with other species. But it has happened, Morketh said thoughtfully. And look, the cub is healthy and happy. The alien leader turned to Captain Daehyun. We have traveled many stars. We have met many species. All fear us or hate us, but you treat our young with love. All children deserve love, Captain Daehyun said simply. Morketh nodded slowly. We have a proposal. We have 12 cubs on our homeworld. They are not sick, but they are not safe. The world is too dangerous for them. You want us to take care of them? Dr. Hyona asked. We want to trust you with what is most precious to us, Morketh said. Our future. Captain Daehyun looked at his crew. They all nodded. We would be honored, he said, but we'll need a bigger place than this ship. We know of a world, Morketh said. Good land, safe water, no predators. We will give it to you, for the cubs. And so, the greatest alliance in galactic history began with a simple promise. Humans would protect alien children, and aliens would trust humans with their most precious treasure. The pact bond was formed. 3 months had passed since the pact bond was formed. Captain Daehyun's ship had traveled to Kepler 442b, a peaceful planet with green fields and clean rivers. The human colony there was small but welcoming. Jae-hwan, the colony administrator, had worked hard to prepare for their special guests. He built large, comfortable homes for the alien cubs and their guardians. The colonists were nervous but excited about meeting their new neighbors. Are you sure this will work? Asked Yeren, the colony's teacher. She watched as the alien ship landed in the main field. They look so big. They're just parents worried about their children, Jae-hwan said calmly. Just like us. Kethnari and Morketh came off their ship first, followed by 12 small cubs. The young aliens stayed close to their parents, looking around with wide, curious eyes. Veltar, now fully healed, ran ahead of the group straight to Dr. Hyona. The cub had grown bigger but still acted like a happy puppy around the humans it loved. Hello, little one, Dr. Hyona said, kneeling down to hug Veltar. Ready to see your new home? The other cubs watched this interaction with amazement. Their parents had told them about the strange humans who helped sick cubs. But seeing, it was different. Captain Daehyun addressed the colonists who had gathered to watch. These are our friends. They're trusting us with their most precious treasure, their children. We will not let them down. The first few days went well. The human children were shy but curious about the alien cubs. The alien cubs were careful, but interested in their new human neighbors. Tae-hyung, a child psychologist, worked with both groups. It's natural for them to be cautious, he told the worried parents, but children adapt faster than adults. Soon, something beautiful began to happen. The human children started playing games with the alien cubs. The cubs learned to be gentle with their smaller human friends. The humans learned not to be afraid of claws and fangs. Yeren created special classes where both species learned together. Math is the same for everyone, she said, watching a human girl help an alien cub count stones. Dongwoo, who had come to the colony to help, discovered that the cubs loved his cooking. They eat more than human children, he laughed. But they're so polite about asking for seconds. Everything seemed perfect. Then the test came. Nayeon, head of colony security, detected ships approaching the planet. 3 large vessels that didn't look like human or the friendly alien ships. Captain, she called to Daehyun over the communication system. We have visitors, and they don't look friendly. The ships landed without permission in the colony's outer fields. Creatures that looked like giant insects with sharp claws and armor plating came out. These were the Kravex, another predator species known throughout the galaxy for their aggression. The leader of the Kravex was called Ziktar. It walked on 6 legs and had eyes like black diamonds. When it spoke, its voice sounded like metal, scraping metal. "We heard strange stories," Ziktar said to Captain Daehyun. "Stories of humans who protect the young of other species. We came to see if this is true." "It's true," Captain Daehyun said carefully. "We help any child who needs help." "Even cubs that could grow up to hunt you?" Ziktar asked. "Even then?" Ziktar made a sound that might have been laughter. "We shall, see?" The Kravex leader gestured to its ship. More creatures came out, but these were smaller. Young Kravex that looked like metallic beetles with curious eyes. "These are our offspring," Ziktar said. "They are hungry, they are tired. Will you help them as you help the others?" Captain Daehyun looked at the young Kravex. They were clearly exhausted and thin. "Of course. Dongwoo, bring food. Dr. Hyuna, check if any are sick." "Wait," Ziktar said sharply. "This is a test. Our young have not eaten in 3 days. When they are hungry, they become aggressive. They might hurt your cubs. Will you still help them?" Kethnari and Morketh moved protectively. Near their cubs, the alien parents were ready to fight if needed, but something unexpected happened. Veltar stepped forward and approached one of the hungry young Kravex. The cub made soft, welcoming sounds. "Veltar, be careful," Dr. Hyona called. The young Kravex looked at Veltar with confusion. It had expected fear or aggression. Instead, it found friendship. Then more surprising things happened. The human children came forward too. A little girl named Suman offered a piece of bread to a young Kravex. "Are you hungry?" she asked simply. The young Kravex took the food carefully with one claw and ate it quickly. Then it made a sound that might have been, "Thank you." Soon all the human colonists were bringing food and water to the young Kravex. Dr. Hyona checked each one for injuries or illness. She found several that needed medical attention and treated them gently. Ziktar watched all of this with growing amazement. "Your species is very strange," it said to Captain Daehyun. "How so?" the captain asked. "You see our young when they are dangerous and hungry, but you do not run, you do not attack. You feed them." "They're children," Jaehwan said simply. "All children deserve care." One of the young Kravex had been badly hurt in a recent fight. Dr. Hyona worked for hours to heal its damaged shell. Ziktar stood nearby, watching every move. "Why do you help enemies?" Ziktar asked. "You're not our enemies," Dr. Hyona said, as she worked. "You're parents who care about your children just like us." When she finished, the young Kravex was feeling much better. It looked up at Dr. Hyona and made gentle clicking sounds. "It is saying thank you," Ziktar translated, sounding surprised. "Our young do not usually show gratitude to other species." "Maybe because other species don't usually help them," Taehyung suggested. That evening, something incredible happened. The young Kravex, the alien cubs, and the human children all played together in the colony's main field. They invented games that worked for all 3 species. The parents from all 3 species watched in wonder. "This should not be possible," Ziktar said. "Our young should be fighting with the others. They are natural enemies." "Maybe they're only enemies because adults teach them to be," Yeren said thoughtfully. Ziktar was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke to Captain Daehyun. "We have a problem similar to the others. Our homeworld is being destroyed by war. Our young are not safe there." "You want us to help raise your young too?" the captain asked. "We want to trust you with them," Ziktar said. "But trust is hard for our species. We have been betrayed before." "We understand," Captain Daehyun said. "But look around. Your young are safe here. They're happy here." It was true. The young Kravex were playing and laughing with the other children. They looked more relaxed than they had in months. "If we leave them here," Ziktar said slowly, "will you protect them from other threats, even if it means danger for your own people?" Before Captain Daehyun could answer, something happened that answered the question for him. Warning sirens began to sound. Nyan's voice came over the communication system. Pirates approaching. 3 ships. They're coming in fast. The space. Pirates were known throughout the galaxy for attacking weak colonies and stealing whatever they could find. Everyone inside, Jaehwan shouted. Protect the children. But instead of just protecting the human children, the colonists gathered all the young ones together, human, alien, and Kravex. They formed a protective circle around all the children. Keth, Nari, and Morketh stood ready to fight alongside the humans. Even Zigtar joined the defensive line. You stand with us? Zigtar asked Captain Daehyun. We protect our family, the captain replied. All of our family. The pirates landed and approached the colony with weapons ready. But when they saw humans, aliens, and Kravex standing together in defense of their young, they stopped. This is impossible, the pirate leader said. 3 species working together. 4 species, corrected a new voice. Everyone turned to see another ship landing. This one belonged to the crystalline Mordai, a species that looked like living diamonds. Their leader, Charlin, stepped forward. We heard about this place, Charlin said to Captain Daehyun. A place where young ones of all species are safe. We came to see if it was true. The pirate leader looked around at all the different species, standing together. This is too weird for me, he said. We're leaving. The pirates left without firing a single shot. Charlin approached Captain Daehyun. Is it true? You protect the young of any species? We do, he said. Even species you've never met before? Especially them. Charlin gestured to its ship. Several small crystal-like creatures came out. Young Mordai that sparkled like living jewels. Our young need a safe place to grow, Charlin said. Our homeworld is too cold. Many die from the harsh conditions. Captain Daehyun looked around, at the colony. Human, alien, Kravex, and now Mordai children were all playing together in the evening light. There's always room for more family, he said. Zigtar made the clicking sound that was Kravex laughter. Humans, it said, you are the strangest species in the galaxy, and perhaps the best. That night, as the children of 4 different species slept safely in their beds, the adults from all the species sat together and talked about the future. This is just the beginning, Captain Daehyun said. Word will spread, other species will come. And we'll welcome them all, Jaehwan added. The galaxy will never be the same, Keth Nari said thoughtfully. No, Captain Daehyun agreed. It will be better. 1 year had passed since the first alien cubs arrived on Kepler 442b. The small human colony had grown into something no one had ever imagined, a thriving community where 7 different alien species lived together in peace. Captain Daehyun stood on the hill overlooking the colony, watching the morning activities. Human children played with alien cubs of all shapes and sizes. The playground had been rebuilt 3 times to accommodate everyone from tiny crystal beings to large wolf-like creatures. Hard to believe it all started with 1 injured cub, Dr. Hyona said, joining him on the hill. Below them, Veltar, now almost fully grown, was teaching a group of young Kravex how to climb trees safely. The once small alien cub had become a leader among the colony's youth. Look at them, Captain Daehyun said with pride. They don't see differences. They just see friends. Minji approached them, carrying a tablet with exciting news. Captain, we just received a message from the Galactic Council. They want to meet with us. The Galactic Council had been watching the colony with growing interest and concern. For thousands of years, different species had lived in fear or conflict with each other. The idea of species working together was completely new. Are they angry? With us? Dr. Hyona asked. I don't think so, Minji said. The message sounds curious. 3 days later, a massive ship arrived at the colony. It carried representatives from the Galactic Council, beings from 12 different worlds who made decisions about trade, war, and peace in their part of the galaxy. The council leader was a tall, thin being called Rathmore from the Zenthari species. It had gray skin and large eyes that seemed to see everything at once. Humans, Rathmore said in a formal voice. You have done something that violates all known patterns of species behavior. Which is? Captain Dahyun asked calmly. You have created multi-species cooperation. You have eliminated natural barriers between predators and prey. You have made enemies into family. We've made children safe and happy, Jae-won corrected. That's all. Rathmore looked around the colony with those large eyes. Everywhere it looked, it saw impossible things. A human teacher was leading a mixed class of 6 different species. A Kravex adolescent was helping a human child with math. Crystal beings played music while alien cubs danced. This should not work, Rathmore said. Species fear each other for good reasons. It keeps the galaxy stable. Does it? Asked Yaren. Because from what I see, fear just makes everyone miserable. A small voice interrupted the conversation. Excuse me, sir. Everyone looked down to see Suman, the human girl who had first offered food to a hungry young Kravex. She was now 8 years old and had become best friends with creatures that most adults would find terrifying. Yes, child? Rathmore said, looking surprised. Why do you think we can't be friends with different people? Suman asked innocently. My best friend Crix is a Kravex and he's really nice. He helped me when I fell down yesterday. Rathmore stared at the little girl. Are you not afraid of the Kravex? They are natural predators. Crix wouldn't hurt me, Suman said confidently. He's my friend. As if summoned by her words, a young Kravex came running over. This was Crix, now the size of a small horse but still acting like a playful puppy around his human friends. So Min, come play, Crix said in careful human words. The crystal children are teaching us a new game. Sumin grinned and ran off with her alien friend leaving the adults staring after them. Impossible, Rathmore muttered. Not impossible, said a new voice. Just unexpected. Everyone turned to see Suyun, the diplomatic officer from Captain Dahyun's original crew. She had been working with the Galactic Council for months, trying to explain what was happening on Kepler 442b. Suyun, Captain Dahyun said happily. Good to see you. The council has been debating what to do about your colony, she said. Some want to shut it down. They think it's dangerous to have so many species in one place. And others? Dr. Hyona asked. Others want to expand it. We've received requests from 37 different species asking for help with their young ones. Rathmore spoke up. The galaxy has always functioned on the principle of separation. Each species stays in its own territory. This prevents war. Does it? Asked Taehyung. Because I've studied galactic history. There have been hundreds of wars between species. Fear doesn't prevent conflict, it causes it. But what you're doing here changes everything, Rathmore said. If species can live together, if they can trust each other with their young, then all our old rules become meaningless. Maybe the old rules weren't very good, Captain Dahyun suggested. That evening, the council representatives were invited to join the colony's daily activities. They watched human doctors treat alien patients. They saw alien teachers helping human students. They observed mixed species families eating dinner together, but the most powerful moment came during bedtime. Dr. Hyona was making her evening rounds, checking on all the young ones before they went to sleep. The council members followed her, curious about the routine. In the first dormitory, human children slept peacefully in beds next to young Kravex who purred like giant cats. In the second building, alien cubs cuddled with stuffed toys made by human volunteers. In the third, crystal children glowed softly like nightlights, helping afraid youngsters feel safe in the dark. This is the most secure place in the galaxy, Dr. Hyona said quietly. Not because of weapons or walls, but because everyone here protects everyone else. As if to prove her point, a small alarm sounded. One of the youngest cubs, a new arrival from the Vorthon species, was having a nightmare. Immediately, children, of all species, woke up to help. Human children brought comfort toys. Alien cubs made soothing sounds. Crystal beings provided gentle light. Within minutes, the frightened cub was calm and surrounded by friends. "They take care of each other," Rathmore said with wonder. "That's what families do," Captain Dahyun said simply. The next morning, Rathmore called an emergency council session via communication link. Representatives from dozens of worlds appeared as holograms around a large table. "I have seen something that changes everything," Rathmore announced. "The humans have achieved something we thought impossible: true multi-species cooperation." "Impossible," said a representative from the warrior Thrakari. "Species cannot trust natural enemies." "I have seen it with my own eyes," Rathmore insisted. "Predators protecting prey species, ancient enemies playing together as children. Trust where there should be fear." "Show us," demanded the Crystalline Council member. Rathmore activated a recording device. The holographic display showed scenes from the colony, children of different species learning together, playing together, protecting each other. The council representatives watched in stunned silence. "How is this possible?" whispered the representative from the aquatic Merdai. "Because humans see children as children, regardless of species," Rathmore explained. "And children, it seems, naturally accept differences that adults fear." "What are you proposing?" asked the Thrakari representative. "I propose we officially recognize what the humans have created," Rathmore said. "I propose we establish the Terran Fostering Accords, making humans the official guardians for any species that needs help with their young." "That gives humans enormous power," another representative pointed out. "Power to protect, not to harm," Rathmore replied. "I have seen their methods. They ask for nothing in return except the chance to help." The vote was close, but it passed. The Terran Fostering Accords became galactic law. Within weeks, ships from across the galaxy began arriving at colonies like Kepler 442b. Each brought young ones who needed safe places to grow up. Captain Dahyun found himself promoted to admiral, overseeing a network of fostering colonies across human space. Dr. Hyona became the galaxy's first interspecies pediatric specialist. Minji established the Institute for Cross-Species Child Development. But perhaps the most important change happened quietly, one child at a time. Veltar, now fully grown, became an ambassador between species. The once injured cub traveled between Todorin worlds, showing other aliens that humans could be trusted. "You saved my life," Veltar told Dr. Hyona during one of its visits home. "But more than that, you taught me that kindness exists in the galaxy. Now I teach others." "And the lesson spreads," she replied with a smile. Years passed. The first generation of multi-species children grew up and became leaders in their own communities. They carried with them the knowledge that different species could live together in peace. Wars between species became rare. Trade increased. Scientific cooperation led to amazing discoveries. The galaxy became a safer, happier place. One day, Captain Dahyun, now Admiral Dahyun, received a message that made him smile. It was from Earth, from the first human children who had been raised in alien foster families as part of an exchange program. "We're ready to join the Galactic Peace Corps," the message said. "We want to help create more places like home, where everyone belongs." Admiral Dahyun looked out at the stars and thought about how it all began with one simple decision. To help a hurt alien cub. Sometimes, he realized, the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest changes in the universe.